What is up, guys? Welcome to Truth and Transparency. Hector in the house. Let's take a look here. We're going to jump right into it. It's a Sunday. I want to get some rest. I've done a lot. Just to show you guys, though, that this is, I've double, triple checked everything. This is straight from day 5 of trial. Okay. So we're going to jump right into the timeline based off of a juror question right here. A juror asked Cecil, who was the state's expert, ISP expert for forensic for the phones, what happened to Apple Health data between 2:18 and 2:25 p.m.? And he says that the phone was not moving at that time. Again, I think he means that there's no steps being taken. Obviously, that's what he means. But between 2:18 and 2:25, there is no steps taken on that phone. Okay. So what I then want us to look at, again, we're just jumping right into it. So what we're going to look at is so here's the bombshell question. It was asked by the jurors. This was a jury question. And how could you be at the crime scene then? My question is how could you be at the crime scene by the last time that the phone moves is 2:31 and 50 seconds. All right. So if you're on the bridge at 2:13 and 57 seconds when bridge guide video begins, okay. So if bridge guide video begins at 2:13 and 57 seconds, all right. Abby and Libby are on the bridge. This is the big famous bridge guide video. All right. How is it possible then for you then to say now, I'm going to get you guys a blank one to show you what I'm talking about. Back you out a little bit here. And now, so what I want to explain to everybody that you just cannot get past is right here. This is your bridge, okay? Right here is where everybody is saying that this video, so for just easy math purposes, put 2:14 there, okay? This phone, so the elevation doesn't occur until 2:31 to 2:32. Okay. You would think that if you guys went down the hill right after the bridge video is over, the elevation should be dropping at just after 2:14. Okay. It does not, though. Okay. It does not. Instead, you have to ask yourselves, okay, so there's movement that's accounted to up until 2:18, but none of it has anything to do. I'll get bigger here with it. Bridge video. Do you guys remember the Karen Reed case? And there was like an inverted video in the Karen Reed case. So if at 2:14, they're all the way at the opposite end, okay, of the Mona High Bridge down over here. Okay, this is where it begins. And they're all the way down here doing this video at 2:14 down there. Okay, guys down the hill, and you think that they're being abducted and going down the hill. Okay, well, why isn't the elevation at 2:16, 2:17? Okay, the elevation isn't until 2:32. I'm going to make it easy for math's sake. Okay, it's between 2:31 and 2:32. Now, here we go. We have some other things we have to talk about. The next big thing that happens here is that right after the bridge guy video is played for 42 seconds, you're getting right into this mark. At 2:14 and 50 seconds, someone tries to use the biometric, ability to get into Libby's phone, but it fails. So they try to open the phone and it fails. This fails. So somebody tried to unlock the phone. That means that when you were making this video and you just go to click it off the side, you're going to put it back in your pocket. So you end it, right? At 2:14 and some odd seconds, this phone it fails to unlock. Okay. And then there's no elevation changes, but at 2:18 to 2:25, this phone, there is no data. The phone is not registering no steps. No steps. No steps between that time. So I said, well, what's going on here? Where is everybody standing from, let's just say 2:15 to 2:18 for 3 minutes? 3 minutes. Everyone's just having conversation, standing still up on the bridge, down over here on this side of the bridge. Okay, because that's what everyone's been thinking this whole time, right? Is that all of this stuff is happening? You know, this is you're getting out here at the Mears farm. You're walking down this way, and then you get to the bridge, and they walked across, right? So what's happening from 2:15 to 2:18? If you guys went guys down the hill, that elevation drop, all right, this is where that's at. That should really be up here if they went guys down the hill, all right? So, but it's not there. And instead, we have people that are with this phone. When I say people, because Abby, Libby, and I believe there's other people, right? So they're at least registering movement up until this point. But then at 2:18 to 2:25, no steps. No steps. Now, why is this important? Well, let me tell you why this is important. Because now you want to tell me, as a juror, that the girls, that would mean that this phone, your phone could be in your pocket and you could just be standing, having a conversation. You could be, I don't know, laying on the ground, making out with your boyfriend. You could be sitting at the end of the bridge, making out with your boyfriend. But at the end of the day, from 2:18 to 2:25, no steps. So then we have to start, if you guys are going to do it right, at 2:25. You're telling me that we have 6 minutes to a possible 7 minutes to make it, because the state's case is that this phone is at its final resting place at 2:32. It never moves again. So its final resting place is under Abby's shoe, which is under the body portion of it. Final resting place. So we have to get this phone in its final resting place, which if we're over here, which is going to be on the complete opposite side, up 0.2 miles, okay, up 0.2 miles that you would be walking along. But hey, you're going to have to somehow decide that you're not going to go down the hill, that you're going to, I don't even know what, but not until the last possible second are you going to try to go down and then jet across and then get to this final resting place way over here by 2:32. Okay. Are you out of your fucking mind? Are you out of your mind? Well, I did it. I said, I can tell you this is not possible just because, but you know what? That's just not good enough. Okay. But let's talk about it for a second. So I want everybody to know that the reason I wanted to talk about why 218 to me was so important, as I let Lawyer Lee know this, and I said, hey guys, 2:18 p.m., that's the same time that Betsy Blair is seen on the camera of the Mears lot over here, or the Harvest store, which is right here. So I put that little camera up there, whatever. She's seen her vehicle, she says, is leaving. Okay, so it's up and leaving the area. Okay. And so, wow, isn't that nuts that at the same timestamp, 2:18, this camera here catches Betsy Blair leaving the area, is the same time that this phone, okay, stops. And from 2:18 to 2:25, there's no data, but it could be in a car and moving, but it's not walking, okay, and not registering steps. There's no steps. But that time that it decides to like stop and ending when it's traveling with steps is the same time that Betsy Blair is getting the fuck up out of there. Okay. Also, what's interesting is that, remember, the drop hasn't happened yet. So what are you guys want to talk about, what are the odds of this and what are the odds of this? Well, here, if you're going to say, what are the odds that Richard Allen isn't the killer? Okay, well, I have something that's funny for you. What are the odds that Betsy Blair goes and takes a 20-minute piss? Okay. For the record here, Betsy Blair is seen, leaving the first time because she has to go to the bathroom, and she uses the library. What's a 4-minute drive from camera to library? I've done it 5 times. 4 minutes. Then once you park your car, you get out of your car and you go into the library. I'll even give Betsy 2 extra minutes to do all that. So Betsy Blair, that's 6 minutes there, 6 minutes back. From camera to camera, when she's passing it to go take her pee and when she's coming back, it's a 30-minute trip. 30 minutes. Okay. This trip, it's 4 minutes to get there. But like I said, I'll give you 6 with parking. Okay. Then you go in, and I mean, that's 12 minutes, guys. How long is Betsy Blair going to go to the bathroom for? How long are we going to let Betsy Blair be in the bathroom? That's giving Betsy Blair an 18-minute pee. Well, let me tell you what they have at the library. They have something called computers, okay? And you can get on the internet at the library. All right, people that are very avid walkers and runners and use Fitbits, okay? This is going to be an in and out process. If Betsy Blair needs to take 18 minutes, and she should probably not go back to the trails, because it sounds like she took a deuce, and she should probably go home. She doesn't feel well. Or she's doing something else. Or people want to say, oh, maybe she saw a friend and she was just chatty Cathy. Okay, well, guess what? She never said anything like that. Also, what I want us to notice is that I took the timestamps, and it took Betsy Blair 26-minute loops on her first 2 loops. After she comes back from the bathroom, why does her loop take 32 minutes? That's an extra, for a runner, that's an extra 6 minutes for your little loop. That's a big deal. Anyways, so 2:18, from 2:18 to 2:25, no steps. The elevation should have dropped right away because it's guys down the hill, right? This is an abduction, right? That didn't happen, though, because the elevation doesn't drop until 2:31 and 50 seconds or something like that to 2:32. Now Now you have to ask yourselves, okay, so 218 to 225, what's going on here? What's going on? Well, I'm going to tell you that in order for the state's case, they never answer what was going on. But the jurors got one of their questions asked, which is what was happening between 218 and 225. And by their account, it was the phone isn't moving. Okay. So then if it didn't get into a car, then that means somebody is literally just sitting here. They're hanging out sitting here. And now I can promise you, there is no way in hell that you can possibly get from this point at 225 to this point all the way over here in 6 minutes. It's impossible. It is humanly, physically impossible. The interesting part should be to everybody is why the elevation is at 231 to 232 right before it stops moving ever again. Well, if I was to be up over here, I'm just saying, by where like the cemetery is, and I wanted to throw, I'm going to go ahead and let's just even say like throw something. If I was to go ahead and try to throw something. Could that be one of the reasons that it would drop down all that way? And then I have to what? I have to go try to hunt this down. Could that be at all possible? Sure, but is it possible to go down this type of a steep slope from either this side or over here, but then to be able to get to its final resting place still and not have it, the phone doesn't move at all? I went over there, did it. I don't believe that it's possible to go down either if you're coming from this slope here, coming from this way, which is on the same side. So if before you cross over to the bridge here, you can go right through and walk like kind of like along the creek. But then there's a big old drop here. I did it. And this is where Derek German kind of stopped. And he said it was too steep, that he didn't go any further. But that type of like a drop. But I just don't believe that you could possibly get from once you're kind of considered on flat, like ground or whatever, to get to still where the crime scene was. It's more than a minute. Okay. And then if you're coming from the cemetery, same thing, like that's steep. And then kind of you get from like the bottom, once you feel like you're on solid ground, flat ground, to then get to the crime scene over here. Could you do it? And the answer is no. The answer is there's just not enough time. There's just not enough time. It's not humanly possible. And then I looked at the steps. So, you know, to hear that these 1,600 steps were taken between 1:30 and 2:08. It's like 82, by the way. It's like 1682. It was interesting to me to see that the girls would take 1,682 steps between 1:30 and 2:08. Because then I broke it on down if you were to get out of your vehicle, where Kelsey says that they drop them off. By the time you get out of your vehicle and you walk to the front of the bridge but not cross the bridge, I can go walking at a good pace like a walker would. I can get out of the vehicle, walk, go left, get to the bridge like Betsy did, and turn around and walk back to this little junction here. I can do that at a good pace, 7 minutes and 11 seconds. That's how long that takes. So why this was important for me to figure out is because I said, could the girls have been technically at the front of this bridge when they had the guys down the hill video? Could they have been over here? Because could it then be possible at 2:14? Could you walk and be able to get into a moving car? Could you do it? And yeah, you could, especially if you were fucking running, because I walked it. And depending on how far you pulled up and how it was back then. But if, let's say, after that video goes off that they decided to run, let's say, because I'm not sold that that's impossible if you were on this edge of the bridge. I mean, yeah, you could also run, and guess where you would run right into? You're going up to someone's house. You would be going off like, but no elevation changes. And the jury caught it. The jury asked that question. What happened to Apple Health data between 2:18 and 2:24? And he says the phone was not moving at the time. Then, yes, then your jury hears that at 5:54 p.m., there's a hard wire input. And literally milliseconds right before that, the phone is ringing because it's an incoming call. Like this was found to be on the extraction that the defense did. And that's an input. And then they want to talk about water damage. Are you kidding me? Water damage would have been hella way back up over at the 2 o'clock time. Then 10:32 p.m., which is the same time that Cecil originally said. When he originally gave his 2000, he did 2 reports in this case. At 10:32 and 36 seconds, something with the phone, last recorded data, and thought battery was dead. But he now knows that it isn't correct. So he knew that something happened. This was back when they did these reports in 2017, 2019. They did another one, 2024. I'm talking about written up reports. And this timestamp in his report, he tried to say that this is what was going on, something to do with the battery. Okay. No, bro. Same timestamp, 10:32. The defense FBI ex-agent here, she said, I was able to find, and I saw this, she showed the Celebrate extraction data. It's just like every time I've ever seen anything. And it said hardwire out. Okay, it was coming out. So it registered it the right way when it was in. And then here at 10:32, somebody then pulled it. Hardwire was pulled out. And then at 4:32 a.m., 4:33 a.m., 15 to 20 SMS messages came on through. And remember, he said he thought the battery died at this time. That was his report that they tried to generate back in the day. Well, you're wrong. But you notice how they had the right timestamp? Because they didn't want to look any further. Because maybe they did take a peek. But they didn't want to look any further. Because then they would have gotten the same type of results, which is that your jack was used. And back in the day for iPhone 6S's, when you would plug your phone or to use the jack for your hardwired headphones, you would silence the phone. It would make it stop ringing. And these timestamps are really interesting to me, especially this one. But at the end of the day, it is physically, absolutely, humanly impossible to think that the phone's not moving. So yeah, from 214 to 218 to do something. But after 218 to 225, that phone is not registering any steps. So how is that possible? But remember, you can't go down the hill yet because your elevation isn't until 231. So it can't be like this. Guys, go down the hill. We're going to start walking. Then I'm going to make you guys strip, and I'm going to take your clothes. Okay? Then, oh, wait. Now we have, guess who's right here by 2:30 to 2:35 at the latest? Ed McCain. He's right here on the bridge just taking pictures every which way. He would have seen all of this. Ed McCain, or not Ed McCain, Dave McCain would have seen, he was out here on the bridge. You'd have been taking pictures, right? What does he do? Yeah, you like how I said Ed McCain? There you go. Edwin McCain is a singer, guys. He would have been having pictures of probably, no wonder why they wanted his pictures. He probably has some pictures on the whole damn thing. Okay? So, you can't have it both ways. If you guys think that video was to abduct children down the hill, well, then the elevation drop has to be right after that video. You guys aren't all just standing up here around, I don't know, circling, playing Ring Around the Rosie up here until, 218 comes and then everybody freezes. Then we're playing red light, green light, and you're freezing. Okay? So let's all freeze until 225. All right, let's all just start making out or something. I mean, I don't know. But then, okay, now we can start moving again after 225. And now somehow, but you can't go down the hill. You can't go and drop till 231. But somehow we got to make it all the way over here. And nobody has defensive wounds. And why this wasn't the highlight of the defenses closing, I have no idea. Okay? Maybe they just feel like it's just so damn obvious that they don't have to say it. I don't know. But Betsy Blair would have been running into multiple people. Dave would have been on the bridge taking pictures of this shit. The couple that he said he saw. This is just not possible. We're going to look up walking toward Weber's house from the south end of the bridge. Yeah, you could do that. You could totally do that. Okay? You could totally do that. Also, ever since the Karen Reed case, I'm just not sold. Yeah, and Dave didn't see anybody crossing the creek. He didn't. But I'm curious to know, though, why these pictures can't surface, because they have timestamps attached to them, which would actually give up the timestamp of when he was where he was. Because the picture's going to show what it shows, and then it has a timestamp next to it, which royally fucks with the state's case. That's why all of this stuff is missing. I mean, it's just, woo. Exactly. You never realize what could be caught in the back of something, especially when you enhance pictures. You may not see it to the naked eye, but if they just want to say that they enhance this, bridge guy video. And this has nothing to do with people say, like, you guys can't even get to the confessions yet, okay? Until you can ask yourself, why would you ever even talk to this dude, Richard Allen? All right? When you would have known for the past, 5.5 years prior to ever arresting Richard Allen, that you would have had really, really fucked up problems with your shit. Okay? Like, you got to answer your own shit here first. And it's not, I mean, I use the Life 360 app. I use my data, and I'm going to show you guys. I think I cut it all down, so you should be able to see these pics now. The biggest thing is I wanted to see how long it would take me to get from if I was on this side of the bridge to be able to, how long would it take me to walk through the woods and to get to the crime scene? Because I knew I would have to go down like a steep area, but I wanted to know how long it would take me from the bridge on this side to walk along. I'm going to go down like hiking type of style. You're going to have to hold on to trees and shit and to get down. And then you're going to find like this area over here. And it's more like, see, it says like cemetery. So it's probably like over here. You know, I'm just using it for purposes of showing. It doesn't matter. But going to the crime scene from this, I'll show you what my Life 360 looks like. And then you guys can decide on your own. See how, I mean, it's asking me all these crazy questions now. Set locations to always. Okay, sure, whatever. Okay. All right, so I have to go back. Location permissions off. Why? I didn't say locations. Sure, always. I said always. Wow. All right, let's just go back to this. You guys can create a bubble now. It's wild. All right, so here we go. What's the date I did all this crap? Here it is. All right, right there's the crime scene. Let's see, I can make it clearer. There you go. You guys see me crossing that shit? When I say I did it, I did it. All right. All right, so here, hold on. Now, and I changed my name to even Abby so I could like make sure I knew when I was doing this why I was doing it. Okay. So let me show you the one that I tried to do. See how long this would take. All right, here we go. All right, so this is Freedom Bridge. So when you park, this is the parking lot for Freedom Bridge. So anybody that would have parked at Freedom Bridge, and then you walk across, like, so I'm walking on this path here. I clearly didn't walk through the street, but I'm walking on this path. It was a 10-minute trip. It says 3:45 down here to 3:55. And because I was calculating how long it takes to get from walking through and around where the, like, this is your old CPS lots there. Okay. So if you parked at the old CPS lot, then you're walking up this little trail here. Okay. And then you're coming into this little roundabout, which is right after the Freedom Bridge. Okay. Then this is how you would take the path through this way, and it just has it right there, but this is the path you go. And this takes you as I'm going. And I walked all the way to where these girls said that they took the picture. So you could see like the path. And where I stopped right here, that's the bench that they took the picture at. So it's a 10-minute walk to get from, if you were at the Freedom Bridge, to cross over, to walk. So the girls that said they went there that day, it would have been 10 minutes to get to where the bench is. That's the bench. And so that was 3:45 p.m. to 3:55 p.m. It's a 10-minute walk. Then see where you have to go over here now. That's the Mountain High Bridge right there. So that's your bridge. And that's where it would take you if you go. There's your house. And you kept on going straight. See the bridge? That's the water part. You kept on going. You have the houses here. There. Here. And this is how you get up out of that area. Okay, so now what I did. Again, this is the bridge. So it took me 10 minutes to walk to where they took the picture of the, right here. That's the bench. So then I had to restart it to see how long it would take for me to get from, because I was going after these girls' timelines. So the next one I did was, okay, now 3:55, okay, to 4:16. 14-minute trip, but I'll tell you how this happened, because it didn't calculate this until 4:16. So from 3:55 to 4:16, like, hold on, let me find that, what I was doing between that time to that time. Oh, that's right. So I don't know if you guys can see this. I don't know why it's doing it. So I'm obviously out there, but for some reason, my phone doesn't have, or I take that back. Here it is. 3:55. I take that back. It does it weird. 3:55 to 4:16. So for 20 minutes, it puts like this weird, it just gives me a bubble. Hold on. Let's see if I can. Okay, look at this. It just shows me that I'm in this bubble. It doesn't have me doing, it says near the Moan High Bridge Trail from 3:55 to 4:16, but it doesn't give me anything. It just shows me that I'm in this area. My carrier is T-Mobile. So see that? But it's really weird because then, ready? I could tell you what I did though. So what I was doing though is I was pretty much standing, because I walked from that bench to the bridge, and I was just standing over by the bridge, looking around, taking pictures of everything. So it's interesting because you would think that it'd have me like walking, which would be just about to get to like from the the bench to the beginning of the bridge where I was for an extended period of time, it doesn't show that broken up that like I had steps there, but it would have taken me like about 5 minutes. But then I was at the bridge taking pictures for a very long time. And so it's keeping me in this, like, it just says like that's where I'm at. Like you guys see that? And then I end up, so remember how they say that you would start at a place and then you would end up, so if it was like start at the Delphi High School and then all of a sudden it was like, boom, it was on the bridge. So take a look at this, because so this is the Monon High Bridge Trail. And wait, let's see. I end up right here, which is like, you would think is like in the middle of, nowhere, but I'm actually walking myself down to the crime scene. And then that's where it picks it up. So then at 4:16, it starts tracking me again with this. And this is where I make this crazy trek through. So I go, see, there's the Monon High Bridge. Hold on, let me make this clearer. Okay, so that's the Monon High Bridge. So it's like this. So I'm supposed to cross it. So do you see where I go? It puts me, you guys are going to die. Where this shows like what I did. You guys see this? I was nowhere near Delphi High School. And right here is Delphi High School. And it's saying that I was out over here, right by where Delphi High School is. I did none of the such of the sort. Nothing like that. I don't know why this isn't. Here we go. It has me out in the middle of some fucking field over here. And that is nowhere where the fuck I was. But look at, if you keep going this way like this building right here is Delphi High School. See, that's the baseball field. This is the high school. All this. Remember how the ping originated there and then it zoomed and got closer in? It's kind of what it did with this. It had me over here and then it zoomed me all the way back to really where I was, which was crossing over there at the river, whatever you call it, the creek. But I mean, I clearly did not walk from there to the high school, right? That just didn't happen. Like, this is over here between that point and this point, you guys, that's where the crime scene is. So I'm like, what the hell kind of report is this? But I'm just letting you guys know that this is what this showed. And it was from 4:16 to 4:30. So then I was like, I was hesitant. I was like, dude, I need to go back out there again because I'm going to try something else. So I took Julie out there with me. I've taken a lot of trips out there. And let me find, okay, so then this one. 4:52 to 5:04 p.m. And you see that green top? So this is what I did. I went back over to to the bench. Remember how the girls said the reason they could tell where they were? So here's that bench pick. There I am. And see that green top? So I made sure I could get that in it because this is 300. Okay, so this is that bench pick. You can get it from either which way, right? And this right here is where the camera was. So this is your 300. This is your Hoosier Heartland back then, okay? That's the green top roof, and then here you're on that trail, okay? And so I'm walking along. Again, that's your 300s out here. But I'm walking along, and this is before we got to the bridge. We turned. So let me just show everybody again. Where's the... For whatever reason, it has me walking like right here, but I'm walking on this path. That's like the path. And if you continue walking, you would pass. Where is it? There's the Moon High Bridge. This is interesting. Because this is a crime scene. Yeah. Yeah, because right there's your Hoosier Heartland. Oh, right there. This is the mirrors. This is where you would enter mirrors, and you would, come down this way to walk, and the bridge. Oh, there it is. So that's the junction. That's right where the mirrors, where you would enter, has to be. Yeah. Right there's the Mountain High Bridge. So that's like a 4-minute walk. Sorry, you guys can't see that. Sorry. What other one did I do when I went with Julie? Anyways, I think you guys are getting the point here, though, but it's... Bottom line is none of this is possible with this time. None of this is possible. It's just impossible. You cannot get over here where the bodies were. In the crime scene over here. It's humanly impossible. There's just no way that this was the final resting place of the phone at 2:32 because it was under the, the shoe. And I mean, you can't even make it there, let alone, then you're going to kill 2 people, so this is just not possible. It's just humanly not possible. And then you throw out 218 to 225, the phone is not taking steps. So now you only have from 225 to 231 to try to get over here from over here. So, Lana, come on. I have no idea what you're telling me to come on about. Like, the state's timeline is completely fucked. So, do me a favor, hit your thumbs up. No, the jury came up with this. The jury asked the question. This was a juror question. What happened to the Apple Health data between 2:18 and 2:25? And Cecil had to say that the phone was not moving at that time. And that's when it's just like, and it was corrected by saying, okay, there's no steps being taken, but it could be in a car, right? And he said, yes, it could be in a car. So you were unable, though, to get this whole, if you go guys down the hill, if you ask what you all think that's going to be happening, the elevation drop should have been right after the 2:14 video. It was not. It wasn't until 2:32. Explaining that. At least I can say that when I go back and look at my Life 360, I can tell you that based off my Life 360, the times are all right. That's off of Life 360. I was waiting until I got home to do all my health data because I don't want to put incorrect information out there. But we also did a stopwatch and took pictures at the different locations so we could prove where we were. This is just not possible. And so I can't tell you who killed anybody. I can't tell you. Do I think that the girls could have been split up? Absolutely. Do I think that it's ironic that Betsy Blair's vehicle that she's claimed is leaving at 2:18, the same time that the girls, or that Libby's phone stops until 2:25? I think that that's completely wow. You know what I mean? I think that Betsy Blair took an extra 6 minutes on that last loop. Interesting. And I think that Betsy Blair took way too long to go to the bathroom. But had I never went to Delphi, I wouldn't have been able to truly see it for myself. And you can only do so much on Google. But Betsy Blair has to account for, I'm telling you, I'm even giving her 6 minutes there, 6 minutes back. That's 12 minutes. And you have 18 minutes that you're taking a pee. Absolutely not. It's just not. It's just not. So I'm curious what Betsy Blair was doing. I also think it's super interesting that the times of the phone when it starts moving for Liberty, it's 1:30 to 2:08 that it registers the 1682 in steps. That's a very interesting time for me because I'm going to tell you why. If she starts walking to get into her sister's vehicle, so that means she's walking from the Patty residence, right? And I know for a fact it's a 10-minute drive once you get in that vehicle to the Mears lot where they got out. So that's your 10:40, or your 1:40. And that's about the time that she starts taking those selfies, which were at 1:41 and 1:43, selfie car. But what's interesting is the 1:38 call. Kelsey says that she had to make that when she was outside of her vehicle because she did not hear her call her dad. Also, at that same time, Kelsey's calling her boyfriend, of which that's why she says, I had to have dropped the girls off at 1:35 because I called my boyfriend after I dropped them off. All right. But yet here she's claiming a car that's at 1:49 p.m. That's hers. Now, does Kelsey have enough time to get actually out of the vehicle, walk down to the Moen High Bridge, and then walk back, get in her vehicle, and all be seen back at 1:49 to be driving that way? The answer is yes. Absolutely. It would take you, if you're just walking at a normal speed, 5 to 6 minutes this way and 5 to 6 minutes back. But this is what people should be looking at here is that they're still in the vehicle at 1:43, allegedly taking these selfies, right? So then you truly don't have, when they say that all of these steps were taken between 1:30 and 2:08. Now let's work with 1:44. Okay, to 2:08. that this amount of steps, because it's 10 minutes to drive. Then we see that they're still in the car. If you're going to go by the state's time, they're still in the vehicle. And how they're doing this is they're saying, because at 1:41, the car selfie that was uploaded to Snap and uploaded to Snap at 1:43, those were found in Snap's downloads. Okay. Then you have your 205 bridge pic, which nobody's on it, but your 207 one, this is the only one of the Abby pic that's missing from the Snap downloads. Okay. And so for me, I'm just like, damn, that's super interesting to say that you're working with 144 to 208. So 23 minutes that you're doing all of these steps. And this would make way more sense. I mean, how long do you think it's going to take to get from one side of the bridge to the other side of the bridge and then to walk back? Because a lot of people out there thought that the girls were like walking back this way, heading back this way when the bridge guy's behind them. But actually, if you sat in that courtroom, what they're trying to say is that the girls were almost trapped. I mean, that the girls were down here at this end and bridge guy's coming this way. So you're trapped. And all I know is this is all your reasonable doubt that you'd ever need, because none of this makes any sense. I know that when I broke down Betsy Blair's bullshit, so these are all of Betsy Blair's movements. Her first two loops are all in the blue. So this is her getting out of the vehicle. At 12:22, she passes the camera, gets out of her car. And so she's making this loop. She turns before she gets to the bridge because she walks back down this way and goes all the way to like past the Freedom Bridge, and then, comes back around. Like that's her loop. And so when you plug all this in, I think Betsy Blair has a lot of explaining to do. Then when you plug in all these other people, like the couple that we're seeing, Derek, Dave is on the bridge. It's 852 feet long, that bridge is. We divided that all up, and we think it's right around like 341 steps that it would take you to cross the bridge. If you're a male, 341 steps. And then, I mean, that's not that many. Like, so this whole 1682, it's like they were down in this area to include that 682, which is before 208. It's truly wild. It's truly wild when you actually put all this stuff on like a timeline, which for whatever reason, I don't know why nobody has. Derek, basically, that's who's giving me Dave's timeline, because Derek said that the reason he didn't go when he got there, the reason he went right instead of left towards the bridge, is because of Dave and where Dave was. And Dave's coming up from the bridge, okay? And he was coming up from that way. So when Derek shouts and says, "Hey, did you see two girls?" And he's like, "No." But even though Derek testifies that he didn't shout anything, he just basically asked the guy, but that's kind of weird. But that's why he didn't go this way. So he goes this way towards the Freedom Bridge. And I could pinpoint that down at 3:25 p.m. at the absolute latest. I mean, Derek was out here walking at like 3:11 and 3:14. He kind of slipped up in court when he said he remembers looking at his phone while he was walking at 3:14 when he was out here. And so I even think it's more like you could even probably push the fact that, well, are you sure you didn't talk to Dave closer to 3:14? Because you said when you're immediately out here, the reason you went right is because of that guy. And so you would have had to see him right away. And that would be 3:14. And that would make sense for Dave being out on this bridge literally while this would all be happening. Because he said he thought he was at least out on the bridge for at least, 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more. And if he sees Derek at, 3:14, then yeah, that makes sense, that he's out on that bridge between 2:30 and 2:45. The other thing that nobody wants to talk about is Betsy Blair and Kelsey both say that nobody was parked when they both came here to park. So let me tell you something. Betsy Blair and Kelsey, if they truly were both here at the Mears lot, when she would have come back for that 1:46 time after she pees, Betsy's coming this way at 1:46, passes this camera, and is turning into the Mears lot where Kelsey would literally be, because she's dropping the girls off. Okay. And so in order for her to be seen on the camera here at 1:49, she has to get the girls out of the car, right? Then back out of her spot and then go. And so 1:46, 1:40, I mean, those two broads' cars are literally going to be, and neither one of them said they see anybody. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's just, again, she's passing at 1:46, pulls in the spot. I mean, she would have gotten to her spot 1:47. She's then going to get out of her vehicle. Now, how in the hell could Kelsey drop off those girls and not be there by 1:47, but yet be on that camera by 1:49? She would have had to throw them out of the vehicle. Okay? Like, I mean, what do you think Betsy's, and then I said, I want to see the video camera, because I want to see, you also then, if you're starting from like a dead stop of going 0 miles an hour to then speed up so that you can like be on your way, it's a lot different, because you're going to have to pick up that speed to get right here on this camera, which is only it's 20 some seconds. Okay. But it's going to be a hell of a lot different though if you're just driving on this road and just heading down and you're able to go like, I don't know, 50 miles an hour. But right here at this 1:46, Betsy passing that, then I have to pull in. She says that there was no cars there. Kelsey says the same thing. And that's just not possible. Also, let's go back to the beginning. Why is Kelsey saying that, okay, this is how you remember something? I believe that this mirrors Hoosier. I believe that this camera's off, so I don't care. Like, there's just no way. But for Kelsey, when she first came out, she was talking about, she was timing everything up with her boyfriend. I called my boyfriend, and that's how I know what time I dropped the girls off, right? That's always been her thing, right? But yet, the selfies in the car, those are time-stamped way later. But whose car was she in? I don't even, whose car was that even taken in? Were those even taken that day? They were so up close on the face that you can really see anything, And then I believe that the person that's Sarah Carbaugh, who says that she saw somebody bloody and muddy, good old Sarah. Well, Sarah, who you saw, had to be Derek, because he says he was walking up and down this area here outside by the 300, and that's exactly where Sarah Carbaugh is driving, and she's coming from this way. All right. And at 3:52, 3:56, that's exactly who was out there. Derek was walking up and down here. And then for some reason, Derek doesn't go into his vehicle to sit and wait. Derek says, I got into Kelsey's car. Well, Kelsey wasn't even there yet. How could you get into Kelsey's car? Or was that a slip? Then it said like he got into Tara's car. I'm just like, why didn't he get in his own car? And then there was testimony by Becky Patty that said that somehow she lost her vehicle that night. She just lost where it was. She lost time with her vehicle. And I'm like, wait, what the heck are you talking about? You know, basically saying that she drove there and then doesn't remember what she was doing with her vehicle and what her vehicle would have been doing. And they never talk about, why isn't this camera used to say, oh yeah, this is when Kelsey's coming back to look for the girls. This is when, oh, Derek came this way, so he never was on that camera, they say. You know, what about, you know, Becky Pat, we came this way. So none of y'all never came back through this way. Just think about all that. But the biggest thing is 218 to 225, that phone not moving, not possible. I mean, that's what it was doing, but it's just not possible to be. There's just no way. You just can't get over here. You cannot get down over here without that phone. Like, you would literally have to start booking it. And then the elevation doesn't happen until this point. And people can laugh, people can say whatever, but yeah. It's just not possible. So we've been doing lots of research over here, so this is straight from the testimony. Like, I wanted to take it straight from what was testified to, and you know, it truly looks like, and to think that Anthony Schatz and that whole account couldn't be talked about. What this kind of shows me is, this is somebody that knew where these people were going, these kids were going. Okay, this is such a very, very tight window that everybody wants all of this to have happened on a day that kids have off school, and like so many people were out here, and who just walks up and down the trails. Oh yeah, you can see me, I'll be out here. But I'm going to, you know, snatch up a kid or two. I mean, yeah. I'm sorry. It's just, yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with, you need to think in terms of if you work backwards too, the phone being dropped off, not the girls. I would also want to look at how stuff could be uploaded, you know, from, if we're just going off of Snapchat, you guys, the state is going off of Snapchat times. Okay. When you upload a picture to Snapchat, for the record, do you know how many pictures in my phone I could have taken 4 years ago? And I could upload a picture from 4 years ago to Snapchat, and you're going to go off of that when I posted that on Snapchat. Think about that. That doesn't make any fucking sense. Right? Sure, there's the activity on Snapchat, but that photo can be from 4 years ago. Could be from, 3 hours prior to. But it was just really interesting that the state wants to go with when talking about all the Snapchat times. That hill is very difficult. That hill is very difficult. I get that you can control people with a gun, to tell them, hey, you're going to go this way, go that way, go this way. That's why, for me, it's just the time. Even me having a gun and having 2 kids with me, okay? And I'm going to we still couldn't do this in that amount of time. There's just not enough time. Lana, do you mean no step? Yeah, the phone didn't move. It's registering that the phone didn't move. So you could be in a car. So what this more is indicative of, if you truly look at it, is that is there any way that this could have actually been at the front of the bridge? Because you could then get to a vehicle right here and actually be in a vehicle at 218. And the reason the phone's not technically taking steps is because it's in a vehicle from 218 to 225. But you just can't think, it's impossible to think that you're going to get over here from over here. But guess what? Once we get to 218, we have to stop. And we're going to stop, and no one's going to do anything from 218 to 225. And then now we can continue on again. You're never going to make it there by 232. And where's the elevation drop? It's not till the end. And that doesn't make sense. You just can't make shit up. And I'm trying to play devil's advocate. I'm trying to say, like, I mean, how does Libby, when does Libby's clothes come off? Is it at all possible? Because I'll tell you what I think is interesting is that who would ever, if you're going to abduct two kids, right? You're going to think that there's two phones. When I find that there's only be one phone, I'm going to say, no way, start stripping. And if I don't have the phone, because let's say Abby had the phone. Okay, but if I'm trying to find so that I can find two cell phones, where's your phone at? I want those phones, right? Those girls, in my opinion, there's no defensive wounds. Nobody's screaming and hollering on that video, okay? Nobody's in fear for their life on that video. That video doesn't prove kidnapping. People want to say, why would the jury ever relook at that video? Well, because maybe they're trying to explain to somebody that's on the jury, like, hey, that video doesn't show kidnapping, though. We can't just, like, that's what the state's saying, but here we see the video, Did you guys see anybody getting kidnapped? So it's, I also went through, because I was, the wounds on the girls, the vertical cutting. I'm sorry, trigger warning. I don't want to talk about stuff. I know that it's, but, Abby's only wound on Abby was, the single incision. Okay. They looked for defensive wounds. There are no defensive wounds. None. There's no defensive wounds on Abby. None. There's no sign of restraint. There's a faint linear mark across, her face. It's like by the chin, as if it was like a cloth or duct tape, but they rolled duct tape out because there was no adhesive residue. They couldn't tell the direction of the wound for sure, but that's the horizontal wound of Abby's that had just the one. But it looked like it entered on the right side. And it's because of the little bruising that looked like a little bit of the force with the entry. And then it was drawn to the left. But the trachea wasn't harmed. And so therefore, Abby could have still, she was able, to use her voice, and also with the autopsy saying that this, was something where this wasn't instant. So, and then the vertical, like the vertical pattern of the wounds on Libby are just, think about, how does somebody come at you with a knife? Okay. If you're not being restrained, even though there's so somebody's pointing a gun at you, because if it's one person, somebody's pointing a gun at you, but then they're coming at you with a knife, and you're not going to like try to throw up one of your arms, that therefore like the knife would catch maybe like, the back of your forearm. Again, these are the four different, it's a possible fifth, but those vertical oriented pattern of wounds on the neck. There's also a superficial incision that was just below Libby's left shoulder. It's very, very small. And I thought it was interesting because was her shirt on at that time? Because was there a hole in the shirt that made it through to the skin? Or was, I thought the guy that did the autopsy is just an old man who's done like, over 7,000 of them. But it was just so like, vague. There were abrasions below Libby's, like her throat, and small abrasions that were between the wounds on the left side of the body with those vertical wounds. Again, you can't tell if like the perpetrator be left or right-handed, or if the attack came from front or behind. And I just find that's just wild, I said, could chloroform be used? Like, I feel like these girls could have been separated around between that 2:14 and 2:18 time because of the phone movements. The defense said that the two flights that they were attributing, like the state was attributing, she said it was like more like four flights. So at 1:38, there was a phone call being made. Snapchat was also being used in the background. All this is at 1:38. 1:41, Snapchat picture that was posted. 1:43 and 59 seconds, Snapchat picture posted. A selfie of Libby and Abby in the car. 2:05 and 10 seconds, Snapchat picture that is uploaded. The 2:07 one, but this is also the last time that the phone is unlocked, which means that it would have been in an unlocked position from 2:07 until when it made that video. So that's another point. So 2:07 to 2:13 in like 52 seconds. That means it was being utilized because it never had gone into an off position. It never had to be unlocked again. Which means it was being utilized the whole time from 2:07 to 2:13, that it wouldn't get into that idle phase where it would knock it out, and then you'd have to like get back in. Which you could see everybody's phone is different to how long you're going to set it until it knocks it out. But so think about that too, that you're on the phone the whole time that you're going across that bridge, that you don't want to focus on crossing that bridge without using your phone. So if anybody's breaking it down like this, in the deliberating room, I would really focus in on this whole 10 minutes that it would take to drive. And so that's out of the 130 to 208. There's no proof. I would love to. I hope one day we get the 43-second video or however long it is. Do you guys know how many steps 1,682 steps is? Like, to do that many steps with what they were just doing, what they claimed to only do. Also, this guy said that Abby, it would have been several minutes before she was unconscious. So like 4, 6, all the way up to 10 minutes before she was unconscious. Like they would have this screaming, like so 2:13 and 51 seconds is the bridge video. It's 43 seconds. And then again, remember 2:14 and 41, somebody tried to get into the somebody tried to unlock it, and they weren't successful at 2:14 and 41. And then to the state, the next thing that was important was 2:32 and 39 seconds, last recorded movement. And I'm just like, well, let's talk about the fact that the phone did not move at all from 2:18 to 2:25. Like, why aren't we talking about that? And then it just moved minimal. Like, there wasn't that many steps between 2:25 and 2:31. Also, Libby had location services on with apps, especially her weather app. They had Snapchat that was running locations. And then they didn't get into it to do anything until 2:15 at 7 p.m. Interesting. That was when ISP charged it, plugged it in, turned it on, and then did it the most ridiculous way, that phone, to mess with it. So, it's just impossible. It's just impossible. It's impossible for that to be the crime scene and for it to be the crime scene at 2:32. It's just not possible. It's humanly not possible. So, 1,600 steps would be like 32 football fields, would it? Yeah. But thank you guys so much. I just kind of want to break this down. Questions? Yeah, throw them up there. I just think the state's timeline's off. I think that the state, I don't think anybody was murdered at 2:32, 2:31. I don't think anybody was murdered by that time. I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible by what they're saying about this. So it's not about it has nothing even to do with Richard Allen. This has to just do with that. I don't think it's humanly possible with where you're saying the girls were at 2:18 p.m. to then where you think you need to put the girls and this phone, and that both of them are dead at 2:32, So because remember, in order for the state's theory to work, Richard Allen has to be the guy that's seen on the camera, or not, I'm sorry, not the camera, but the guy that's seen by Sarah Carba. In order for their theory to work, this has to the merge would have had to happen between, I don't know, 1:30 and 4 o'clock. Obviously way more before 4 o'clock because he's the muddy and bloody guy, right? Walking back. But guess what? This camera that he would have just walked right past doesn't have him. It doesn't have a guy walking. It does not have a guy walking. You guys understand that? How is that possible? It's because the guy that Sarah Carball saw was up more past over this way, okay? And it's because he came out from like walking up where the Freedom Bridge would have been, out over here. And I'm sorry, I believe that she saw Derek. That's who was walking up along over there. And he wouldn't have been because he came through the pathway and then came out over, he was in the path and then came out over here, walked over here. And then he went and got in his car. Or not his car, but somebody else's car. Tara or Kelsey's or whatever he's talking about. But this camera, and they said it, they asked him on the stand, did you guys see a guy walking? Did the camera catch it? And he said, no, the camera didn't catch somebody walking. I mean, how much more shit do you need, man? This is horrible. Do you guys know that none of these people's phones were extracted? Like, these officers didn't ask for anybody's phones. Like, all these people that were on the trail, didn't they turn in their phones and that they were extracted to just preserve them? No. The family? No. Not because we think that you're suspects, but just because we want to pinpoint a timeline. I need to double check with things. Like, I don't think that you did anything. That's what you do. Then even like Dave McCain, anybody that was the couple that was out there, just anybody that they would have come across, and then even people that weren't even out there on the trail that day, but that they were in contact with. It just. It just seems like you're not asking. You'd want to just get as much information as you can just to have it and to preserve it. And it just seems like the opposite happened here. You can never get too much stuff, right? So I don't know. Are we sure they crossed the bridge and not turned back? Oh, I'm not sure they crossed the bridge. Not after seeing that inverted video by in the Karen Reed case, So there was way too much shit done with the enhancement of the video, in my opinion. So I'm just going off of a timeline here, and it's impossible. And it's one thing you can control me with a gun. I guess, yeah, I'm going to go wherever you're telling me to go because I don't want to get shot or whatever. But how you come at me with a knife and I'm just going to not do anything because there's still a gun at me. Like, I think you wouldn't be able to help your reaction, like just your fight or flight response. Like, there's just nothing that you would be able to do you're going to not let a knife come at you. I mean, I'm sorry. Unless it happened while you were unconscious, still alive, because maybe, I don't know, you were taken out, like I said, with, like, I don't know, chloroform. I mean, I don't know. It's just, So, but thank you guys so much. I'm going to get some rest. I'll be down there at the courthouse, so be kind to one another. You guys rock. And if you have something to add to the video, please use the comment section of the video. I try to always peek in there, but everything that I'm showing is from the testimony. Like, this is what people said, in this trial. So, thank you so much. And I'm going to go check out EOA. I watched a couple of those videos yesterday. Can you email me by chance? Because I have a question on, well, if you can just email me, it's the mind challenge at Gmail. And then I can send, I want to send you something. So there you go. But again, thank you guys so much. Be kind. See you guys on the flip side. Sure, will do. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Good night, mods. You guys rock. Keep it rocking over there.
Today is not a day to celebrate, but the arrest of Richard M. Allen of Delphi on 2 counts of murder is sure a major step in leading to the conclusion of this long-term and complex investigation. Of this long-term and complex investigation. Of this long-term and complex investigation. Of this long-term and complex investigation.